As we get the latest news now from our team, joining me, Andrea Mitchell, host of Andrea Mitchell Reports on MSNBC. At the White House, we've got Kristen Welker, Hallie Jackson, and from our D.C. bureau, Hans Nichols. And Andrea, let me start with you. This big news of Mike Pence taking over the transition team. Does that seem like a logical choice?
Well, it's logical, but it certainly is a reflection on the relationship between Donald Trump and Chris Christie. Clearly, Mike Pence is a disinterested and neutral person in this, in that he has the president-elect's interests at heart. He doesn't have his own agenda. He's not looking for another position within the administration. He has this elected position and sort of prime among all of the people around Donald Trump. So I think this would reflect more on whether there was some internal concerns about Chris Christie, his interviews. Remember the interview that he did on the Today Show, that pregnant pause that Savannah Guthrie mentioned when he was asked about himself wanting the chief of staff position. And there was also the fact that Chris Christie, among the small circle of Newt Gingrich and Rudy Giuliani and Christie, was less supportive of Donald Trump when the going got rough in those closing days and weeks. He was less out there. He seemed to be hanging back a bit. So perhaps his loyalty and his own self-interest is being questioned. And there's always the question as to whether there is a Bridgegate fallout or blowback or some other step that might come, that might happen, some other thing that might fall.
And not to play off of Bridgegate right there, but Andrea, I will anyway, to our Hallie Jackson, who was there yesterday as Mike Pence was side-by-side lockstep with Donald Trump. And how important is Pence, because of his connections on the Hill, to being able to build those developing relationships with those that could be skeptical within the GOP of an agenda of Trump?
I mean, hugely important, Thomas. Remember, this was one of the key reasons why those close to the president-elect at the time during his campaign, I'm thinking of, for example, former campaign manager Paul Manafort, were urging him to select somebody like Mike Pence, or to select Mike Pence specifically for that vice president slot, because he does have relationships here in Congress. He is close with House Speaker Paul Ryan. He understands the way that Washington works because he had been here, frankly, for so long. So it was an intentional choice for Donald Trump. And at this point, as Andrew noted, the president-elect appears to be making use of those relationships, essentially leveraging them in order to try to put together this transition team. I think it's fair to say that because Pence knows what his position will be, the vice president-elect knows he will end up being the vice president, he's not jockeying for a role inside the West Wing, and that had been kind of a concern. There had been some drama playing out, and there still is, frankly, I think, some drama playing out over who ends up in that chief of staff position. And given Chris Christie's role in the transition team, this appears to be sort of a step back for Governor Christie and a step forward for the vice president-elect. We know that obviously he will be back in Washington often. He is going to be coming back for a lunch or a dinner with Vice President Biden, the two of them continuing to talk and continuing their transition after a meeting yesterday.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.